On this episode, we're talking particle console, choosing a battery for your electronics project, JavaScript on the Onion Omega, and if you watch to the very end, there's a giveaway. Or you could skip to the end. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Daily IoT, episode 5. My name is Kevin. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's just hop right into it. First off, news. This week, news coming out of Particle. Particle has announced that Particle Dashboard is now going to be called Particle Console. Now, this is not just a name change. It is an expansion of their fleet management tool set. And so fleet management, and by fleet we mean particle devices, photons, cores, electrons, being able to manage those, firmware pushes to those and things like that, logs. They are expanding that to a free tier. So up to 25 devices, up to 250,000 outbound events, and up to 5 team members. And so really cool news coming out of Particle. Now this is great. You can create a product in the console, and that's where you can add devices, which become the fleet of devices for that product. And then you can update the firmware and do all that log stuff that I was just talking about. Now, you don't actually have to have a product, though, to do this. This can be cool just for hobby projects where you're collaborating with a bunch of other people. Just like I was collaborating on the Internet of Things button with Rahul. This is something where if you have a few people with photons, you can put all of those into the product and manage them. Sort of like, kind of like GitHub, right? Like you've got the repository and you push code and then everybody gets it. You can do the same thing if you're hacking on a particle photon project. You've all got photons, make changes, and then get them all through fleet management. So that's just a way that you could use it. Really great that Particle has a lot of tools to take you from maker to pro, and they've really defined that path for how you can get to a full commercial product. But I really love that they're still keeping in mind the maker roots and leaving an option there for hobbyists and people just getting started to play with that. Particle console, fleet management, very exciting stuff coming out of Particle this week. Okay, next up, not really news. I just wanted to link up the good people at Fictive, specifically Richie Tran, wrote a simple article. It's like 3-4 minutes on selecting a battery for your wearable or consumer electronics project. And if you don't know who Fictive is, they are a company that does fabrication, 3D printing, and CNC. And they're awesome, just awesome bunch of people. Wearing the t-shirt, trying to represent a little bit. This is not a paid endorsement. Fictive does not pay me any money. I just really like those guys. Just a solid team over there and want to give them some love. Link up this article if you, when you're just starting, choosing a battery, something as simple as that, an Internet of Things can be daunting. Like, I don't know anything about this. How do I choose a battery? And so Richie wrote up a short little comprehensive, it's not an in-depth white paper. It's just a short little, take you 3 or 4 minutes to read, article about selecting a battery, what the pros and cons and advantages and disadvantages, I guess that's the same as pros and cons, of a battery to help you out with that. So I'll link that up in the description so you can check that out. I'll also put Fictive's Twitter handle down there. I highly recommend you follow them because, like I say, they're always putting content out like this. While they have their core business, they sort of have this mentality of giving information to the community is always good business, and it's great stuff, and you should follow them. It's always great stuff to learn. Okay, topic of the day. I said we were going to be talking more Onion Omega. Right now, the Kickstarter's going on. They're over 200,000 already. There's still 20 days left. They're just knocking it out of the park. Omega 2 is definitely way past funding. There's like over 4,000 or 5,000 backers now. Anyway, so I'm digging into that more. And the topic of the day is Node.js and JavaScript on the Onion. And so a couple things you need to know. First and foremost, if you're going to install Node.js on your Omega, you're getting rid of 50% of your your non-volatile memory. That's going to take about 50% of what you call the hard disk space on your Omega, that flash chip there. And so that's one thing to consider. So you cannot download huge packages because half of your memory is gone just after installing Node.js. And so that's something to keep in mind. NPM is not there, so you can't install Node.js and then do npm install your favorite package because it's not there. And mostly it's not there because there's not space for it, but also there's no local compilation because there's also not room for the dev tools to do local compilation. So there are packages for the core expansion boards from Onion. Those are delivered through the package manager. You don't npm install those. So something to keep in mind. The current package version of Node.js that gets installed on your Omega is 4.3.1. That's about 4 months behind the current LTS release of Node.js. So to be aware of that. Now that shouldn't really be a problem. 4 months out of date. Some people like to be bleeding edge. If you're one of those people, the Onion Omega is not where you want to be doing your dev work. So for most of the things you'll be doing on this, that far behind is not an issue at all. So getting started on this, if you want to get started on Node.js on your Omega, I'm going to do a microcast on it that covers it more in depth. Super easy to get started. Just use the package manager. You're going to want to do an O package, OPKG space update to get a fresh list of packages. And then you do an O package space install space Node.js. And less than 5 minutes. You turn it on, less than 5 minutes, you've got Node installed. You can type Node and get a prompt and start, typing commands right in, start interacting. I was playing with the OLED shield here. Very cool stuff. The cool thing about the Omega 2, kind of building up to the release of that, is if you get the Omega 2 Plus, it will come with an SD card slot, which will help with that space problem with larger packages for your Internet of Things projects on the Onion Omega. So something to look forward to with the release of the Omega 2. Okay, something I want to start doing at the end of these episodes is sort of like a shout out extras section. I want to give a shout out today to Jim Gale, who is the person who helped me get started in 3D printing a mere 2 weeks ago. I had the idea of the IoT button that I've kind of shared a little bit about on the show here, and I know that Jim's done a lot of stuff. I went to him and said, hey, I'm trying to create a case for this simple project. And, he immediately took me in and was like, let me show you this. This is what I use. And he's just super excited about it. And just that attitude that we need more of. The maker community has a ton of it, but there can always be more of just, you have a question, come in and I will help you get started. And he got me started on the path. I'm now like super hooked on 3D printing, by the way. That's going to set me back hundreds of dollars when I buy a printer here in the next month or two. So thanks a lot for that, Jim. But just, I love the mentality, just getting people started. That's what I'm trying to do. If you have questions, please don't ever feel like, oh, I'm afraid to ask. Like, that's the whole point of this. Come and ask. I'm happy to help. And so thanks to Jim for getting me addicted to yet another maker Internet of Things thing. Also want to give a quick shout out to all the new subscribers. I mean, I'm getting new subscribers every single day. I'm not sure where you're coming from or what sites are leading you here, but I really appreciate it. If you're watching this, and even if you've made it just this far in this video, I super appreciate that you're spending your time to come here. And I want to make this as valuable as possible. If you have any feedback, as always, please stick it down in the comments. I love to hear from people. I respond to everybody personally, whether it's in the comments or on Twitter. So thank you guys so much for subscribing and following. Okay, almost forgot. Giveaway time. So a little while back, I reached out to Particle. At that time was still Spark, before they went through their name change. And because I was going to a conference to present, and I wanted to know if they wanted to let me borrow some of their little kits to do a little workshop. They were like, borrow, forget about it, just have a few, make sure that they get into the hands of people that will enjoy them and use them. And so I went, I wasn't able to actually get rid of all of them. So they've literally been sitting in my office for months. And I feel bad about it because there's lots of people out there that could use one of these to get started in the Internet of Things. And so I'm going to give one of these away every few episodes for the next little while. I have, like half a dozen of them laying around. And so I figure one of you out there could benefit from having this and getting started. Now, it has a Spark core, which was the very first Particle device. particle core, I guess now is what you call it. But anyway, it comes with, I mean, there's lots of cool stuff in this little kit here. Like there's a little servo, there's hookup wires, there's something that just fell, and a light sensor, capacitors, resistors, a proto board, and potentiometer. There's a lot of cool just maker prototyping stuff in here. So whether you want the core or not, it comes on a little breadboard. Anyway, I want to give it away. I first of all, apologize. I think I'm going to limit this to US only just because I don't make any money doing this and international shipping can get quite pricey. So we'll say US only, but I don't know. If you're interested, the way that we're going to do this is leave a comment below, leave some feedback on the show, or even just say hi, and I will pick somebody at random. I will not pick. I got kids. I got a bunch of kids. I'll have one of them just randomly pick a comment, so keep it safe for kids. And we'll send out a Spark core in this nice little box and all the supplies that come with it. So would love to do that for you guys. Get it into the hands of somebody that's actually going to use it and learn from it. So anyway, that's it for today. I appreciate everybody watching. And that does it for Daily IoT, the show that's teaching you about the Internet of Things one day at a time. Thanks for watching, guys, and happy hacking.